You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop.
Good evening and welcome to the Sporting Time Show. Thank you for spending your Saturday evening with us. I'm Doug Thompson, and of course, every week we have a special cameo guest host. This week, I'd like to introduce Brian Talley, who I've known for several years. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, Doug, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and really looking forward to joining you tonight.
You know, I have known you for
several years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember something that you said to me one time, that your passion was broadcasting. Mm-hmm. I mean, you were just, and this is prior to your years at Franklin Simpson, when you became the play-by-play guy
Correct.
for Franklin Simpson.
Correct.
But you were all in
Yeah.
on broadcasting.
Yeah, ever since I was a child, broadcasting was in my blood. I was the kid that had the fake radio station in my bedroom, and I played records and I read news and I did the whole kit and caboodle. And to be able to now grow up and be in that profession is fantastic. And you know, not everybody gets to grow up and be what they wanted to be. Right. And I've had that opportunity, so I feel awful blessed to do that.
And recently you took a position as a co-host on 104.1 FM.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that in a second. But what was it, or who was it in your life that kind of got you thinking about, hey, I really want to do that. I like what that person does.
Wes Strader.
Okay.
May he rest in peace.
Yep.
Wes, as a child, I listened to him broadcast Western sports and just kind of had that, you know, maybe I could do that, you know, type thought, and not to do it like Wes did, of course, but probably Wes would be the sports side of it, and just the general radio, believe it or not, probably watching WKRP in Cincinnati. I thought, hey, they look like they have fun at work.
If you're over 40, you know what you're talking about.
They look like they have fun at work.
Yeah.
So maybe I can do that. So a serious one and maybe a not so serious events led me to what I do now.
Yeah,
so.
Wes Strader was just a giant in broadcasting, and the stories that he used to tell were just unbelievable. And in fact, in the last segment, we're going to talk about the Wes Strader Schoolboy Classic, which is kind of ironic. Yeah. Now, your new show that you co-host, it's not just sports.
No.
And it's interesting. I want to ask you about, you know, you do politics, which is a hot topic, and you do a lot of things. Has that been a easy transition for you?
It has, because I've always, even though I love the sports aspect, I've always kind of been involved a little bit in politics and keeping up with politics. So making that transition to a morning show that basically our focus is politics, it's been a pretty easy transition and something that I've enjoyed immensely.
But you know, you probably don't have enough content in politics.
Oh no, there's nothing to talk about. You know, literally, we just sat there and stared at each other for 2.5 hours every morning. But no, with politics and sports, there's always something going on, and there's always interesting things happening, whether it's local, state, nationwide. We cover it all. Nothing's off topic, so to speak. So. We have plenty to talk about.
We've got about 60 seconds left on this segment. But do you find it difficult or challenging to kind of walk that line of giving your opinion, of maybe exposing your feeling as to where you feel, you know, your thoughts are on politics?
Yeah, it is a fine line, and you know, you have to really try to stay in the middle. Of course, if you listen to my program for probably 30 minutes, you'll probably figure out where I lean politically, and that's okay. And if you don't agree with that, then call me up and let's talk about it. Yeah. And you know, at the end of the day, we'll shake hands, be friends, and go our merry way. So yeah, there is a line there, but we can have a little fun with it as well.
Yeah, I think the shake hands at the end of the day and be friends may be more difficult today than it was, you know, maybe back in the 70s. But we have got two great guests on the show today. We've got Veronique DeMar. She is the student from Greenwood that scored a perfect score on ACT, SAT.
Yep.
And coming up next, we've got Coach McCoy from the Greenwood Gators right here on the Sporting Times. Stay tuned. More of the Sporting Times with Brian and I right here on WNKY NBC 40. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the show. My next guest, well, you've heard it say, the old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, my next guest is a Greenwood High School senior who earned a perfect score on her ACT and SAT. Amazing. I want to bring to the show Veronique DeMar. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is great. I am so excited to have you on the show. I read where you earned the perfect score, and in both SAT and ACT, and I started thinking, we have so much in common.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right? I mean, you enjoy choir and
That's
music. When I was in high school, same thing, theater, choir, right? What's the other thing here? Theater, music, same thing with me. And then the ACT and SAT, well, never mind. So let's just leave it with the theater and music. But welcome to the show. I know that you have been so busy since the news broke. I know WNKY did a really nice interview with you. What has it been like since it was revealed that you had a perfect score on both of those?
It's been a lot of support, honestly. It's very, very heartening. The first day we found out, my guidance counselor called me into her office. She pushed the SAT paper towards me. Have you seen this? Really? And then I got called into the principal's office, and I talked to Mr. Hatcher, he's our principal, when I got the first score, the initial 36, and he was over the moon then. And so when he heard about the second score, the SAT, he called me in, and he was just, I don't want to say starstruck, but he calls himself my biggest fan. Yeah. So it was just a huge outpouring of support, and I have people asking me to help tutor them for the ACT, but I'm honestly flattered. The cafeteria ladies gave me an apple juice for free because they just said,
now you know you've made it.
Right, I know I've made it because they said, we're all just so proud of you.
That's, you know, and I read that you took the test when you were in the 5th grade. Your dad had asked you to take it. Your expectations taking this last test, the ACT and the ACT, did you think that it was going to be perfect? I mean, did you, based on previous exams that you took, that you could be close to that, or would you be happy with a 35 or 34?
I would have been happy with a 35 or 34. I was expecting at least 30s due to the previous tests I'd taken in the summers before and leading up to it. I figured, now I've taken calculus. Surely I'll do fine. But no, 36 was a shock and a welcome surprise. My sister went through the same whole program. She took it in 5th grade too, and I was just following in her footsteps. But I can kind of rub it in a little bit because she got a 35.
Oh, how disappointing, right? The 35.
Well, now she's on a presidential scholarship at Murray, so.
That's pretty good. So competitive with your sister?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
So going into, when you sit down to take the test, do you get nervous? Do you get butterflies? Or is it just, you've done it before so many times that it's just, I'm going to get through it?
Much more the second than the first. Obviously, whenever you take a test that you've paid for or that is timed, you kind of get the jitters. But part of it is that I've taken it so many times that the newness of it is not a factor I have to get over. Yeah. And yeah, if you have time before taking an ACT, if you ever do, just taking a second, knowing your score does not define you, and
yes.
And it'll kind of work itself out.
But it has blown every door open for you nationally as far as academics go. But what are some of the things that you like to do, just on your free time?
Well, you mentioned theater and music. I'm doing the school play right now, The Importance of Being Earnest, November 12th.
mark your calendars.
Right, just got to plug that a little bit. I'm doing the school play. I'm in choir, so we're getting ready for our winter concert there. I'm on the academic team as well, and I hope to do the musical later in the spring.
Very nice, very nice. We got about 45 seconds left. Give me a quick question off of the ACT or SAT. Let me see how I do.
I'd love to. All right. Standard deck, 52 cards.
Yes.
What is the probability of pulling one card that is either a black 8 or a red 5?
Percentage?
Percentage or fraction?
Okay, can I call a friend?
Sure, go for it.
All right, I'm going to say 50%.
50% chance out of
Yes.
52 cards
Yes.
that you have a red 8 or a black 5.
I feel like I failed already. She's questioning. We're out of time, but just say I'm close or not close.
Not close.
Not close. Thank you very much. Congratulations on all your success. Good luck, and keep us posted on how things go. We'll check out the play coming up.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more of the Sporting Times right here on WNKY NBC 40. Welcome back to the show. My next guest is in his third season as the head basketball coach for the Greenwood Gators, and he is one of the top young coaches in the region, maybe even in the state. I'd like to bring to the show now my good friend, Coach McCoy. Well, welcome to the show.
Hey, Doug. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you're kicking off our basketball show for the 21-22 season. And, Coach, I got to tell you, I looked at your schedule, and your schedule is amazing. You look at all the holiday tournaments and teams that you're playing, but honestly, you have the talent to go after these big names. Just talk about the guys. I mean, Stennett's coming back, Stansberry. I mean, it goes on and on with the team that you have coming back.
Yeah, you obviously know we're led by Cade Stennett, one of the top players in the region, in my opinion, in the state of Kentucky. But man, he's got a heck of a talented group around him as well. And then Aaron Brown, Braxton Stennett, Lofton Howard, Mason Thornhill, Hunter Raymer. You've mentioned Luke Stansberry, Jax Buchanan. A lot of those guys that have played together for a very long time. They enjoy playing together. That's a key component to the success I think we had last year. And man, they're so fired up and hungry. The way the season ended for us last year, that we remind them of that ending very often in our workouts and the way we do things, and they're just working towards that common goal of winning that next one this year. So.
Yeah, talk about last year. I mean, fourth region championship game. You made it there. You did have a great season. I think at the beginning of the season, maybe some outside supporters didn't think that you would achieve the success that you did. This year, you're coming into a season where they're saying, "Hey, Greenwood is one of the top two teams in the fourth region in the 14th district." But Coach, you know how that goes in this district. It's crazy.
Yeah, what they put on paper doesn't mean a whole lot until you get out there and compete and perform. But it was well said how you worded that, because we've kind of been probably middle of the pack my first couple years. I still think we were top 4 to top 6 respectfully, but we didn't have quite the bullseye on our back that I foresee us having this year. And my message to my team has been, you guys have earned that reputation. That's something you don't take for granted. You've earned it. You showed them last year after we lost Noah Stansberry kind of unexpectedly. I think what you were saying is a lot of people wrote us off after that, and we had a learning curve, but man, they gelled together and got better, and we peaked at the right time. But this year it'll be different. We're a team that I would expect a lot of other region opponents and other opponents around the state have our game circled. So I'm going to have a little different mental approach about it, but it's one that I think we're looking forward to embracing and the challenges that will come with it.
I want to ask you about the mental preparation. Obviously, the expectations are very high for your program this year. There's going to be a lot of accolades thrown your way. Players are going to hear a lot of things out there. You've got social media. You've got a lot of things. How do you as a coach kind of keep your guys grounded and keeping their eye on the prize and not get too far out either way?
Well, they're a pretty humble group, but distractions are something we all battle as coaches. I was fortunate to sometimes have Coach Tommy Compton in the building as a sub, and anytime I see him at Greenwood, I love to pick his brain. And he talks about how coaches of today battle things that coaches when he was in his career never even thought of. So it is a battle. But another way that I hope to keep them grounded and humbled is the schedule that I have built for them.
True.
That was part of that reason is I don't expect us to go 30-0 regular season, and I hope our guys don't either. If we do, great.
Yeah.
Didn't schedule it to lose on purpose, but those challenges that we should see week to week will keep us very realistic with where we are, where we've got to go. And the improvements that'll have to be made.
Well, it's going to be an exciting season, Coach. We're very excited to bring all your action on stfanclub.com this year. Boys and girls, thank you, Coach, very much for joining me today. We'll see you at the courts.
Hey, thank y'all for your coverage and what you do for the kids.
Thank you, Coach. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Brian and I will wrap things up on this edition of the Sporting Time Show on WNKY NBC 40. All right, welcome back to the show. Two great guests, as I had mentioned in the first segment. Well, I tell you what, Veronique DeMars, and folks, I took all sorts of heat during the break about my guess from the ACT test. But what with accomplishment, right?
Yes. I mean, just kind of interviewing her and being in the same room with her, it's almost kind of intimidating with her intelligence and knowing what she has done and the attention she's getting, and rightfully so. It's really awesome to meet her, and really cool that you had her on the show. That's really nice.
But the she is so personable, right, and outgoing, and she said, I don't want to be behind a computer, and she enjoys the interaction with people, but. Man, I should have had a multiple choice question in there.
Yeah, you kind of hung yourself there.
I did, and I just, if you were in studio, everybody just ganged up on me like they knew the answer to that question.
I didn't know the answer. I had no idea.
Anyway, and then, Coach McCoy being our first basketball coach to kick off the 21-22 season. Brian, you've been around long enough to know how crazy this fourth region is, and this 14th district, and, preseason, there's a lot of talk about Warren Central and Greenwood being, the top, but you can never leave Bowling Green out of this conversation. No. We don't know about Warren East and South Warren at this point. I've heard South Warren's going to be very competitive.
I've heard they're going to be better for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, it's just a crazy. Market
for
that
sure.
We are in with basketball.
And high school basketball in this area is at one of its best moments that it's had that in years that I can remember. You see, like you said, you see Greenwood coming on. Central and Bowling Green are always going to be there. And then you can't forget about some schools outside of the 14th district, your Clinton counties. Coach Messer's always going to have a good team over there. Russellville's going to be really good this time.
Yes, they are.
They may have something to say about this long streak that the 14th district is on of sending a team to the state tournament. So, yeah, I can't wait to get going. It's going to be a fun season.
Yeah, and then, you've got Barron County with Coach Cunningham. And, I mean, he's an excellent basketball coach, right? That just gets the most out of his players. And so we don't know. But you mentioned Coach Messer out of Clinton County. You got to love him because he is always punching up. I mean, he's always,
He's that coach that I've heard said will take his 5 and beat you and then take your 5 and beat you. He just has a knack for being able to do that.
Yeah, and he And he always plays the David versus Goliath.
Yes.
We don't get any love.
Yep.
And, he is just a special coach.
Yep.
And so it is going to be a great season, both on the boys and the girls' side. The Bowling Green Lady Purples definitely are at the top right now.
For sure, yeah. They've really got a nice run going over there, and I suspect it to keep going this year for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You mentioned the West Raider. Well, you mentioned West Raider. I mentioned the Schoolboy Classic. This year's lineup, McCracken County, who was the Region 1 champ, Owensboro Catholic, of course, Tim Riley coming back to Warren Central, where his name is, right there on the court. Owensboro Catholic, they were in the 3rd region finals. You had Bardstown, they were in the region finals against Elizabethtown last year. Marion County, who is in the 5th region, had a really good season last year. And then Mayo, who is from the 7th region. And there's one other team that we don't have yet who I heard is going to be off of the charts. And they have the slam dunk competition.
Yeah, what a day of basketball that's going to be. And like we mentioned earlier, you couldn't honor the name of a better gentleman than Wes Strader with this classic, and getting high quality teams, high quality coaches, and more importantly, high quality young men, because that's who Wes was, a quality man to play in the event named after him. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and of course his grandson Wes Orange has taken up the charge, and it does a fantastic job. Real quick, we got about 30 seconds. Are you able to take a deep breath now that you're out of doing the play-by-play? Because you never get a break.
You never get a break. We're still doing some Friday night games on WKCT, so right back into it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is going to be just an unbelievable, fantastic school year. You can catch many, many games on stfanclub.com. Brian Talley, thank you very much for being my cameo guest host.
Anytime, Doug. I appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up. Everybody have a safe and fantastic week. We'll see you back here, same time, same place. For Doug Thompson, Brian Talley, have a fantastic week. Good night.